Hey everybody, it's Red here, and today we're going to talk about Agarest Generations of War. Also, I think it was called Agarest Record of the Lodos War. I don't know if they're one and the same or if they're different, but I thought I read somewhere that they were named the same. So you'll see I'm in the 5th generation of my second playthrough with this so few turns and the DLC weapons. So I changed some character specs and was playing goofing off with some stuff. And if I suck at this, please don't judge me too harshly. So first we're going to talk about kind of the good things about the game. So to me, there is a nice selection of unique characters. Let me click status. So you have the hero who, is 5th generation and whatever. You have elves. Magic Lord is a monster. She is something I don't remember. Like a fortune teller, a gunman, a tree, another elf, like a dwarf and a gnome, a dude, bunny lady, and these are some monsters, and this is another human. But yeah, there's a huge selection of kind of unique characters, and with that comes plenty of fan service if you're into fan service, if you know what I mean. Secondly, there's plenty to do in this game. So if we go to the shop, and there's enhancing all of these weapons, there's making all the weapons and armor, there's the Adventurers Guild where you have titles and stuff which can be exchanged for items and other things like that. There's the Monster Guild where you can combine monsters to make other monsters, or you can just trade them in for material if you feel like doing that. There's even a part where you can resurrect old people from the previous chapters, which is a really nice feature, especially if you really like someone. There's some characters I wasn't a fan of, and others I was more a fan of. I wish they would have stayed in the party, but I don't know if we can do it in chapter 3 anymore. But the snowfall effect in this chapter, I really enjoyed the snowfall effect. It was really cool, and it wasn't super difficult if you look at it. It's just like a square and a rectangle of snow, and then you have them overlapping each other, and it makes this really, really, really cool effect. And I'm a huge fan of the surprise fights because it tests your tactical ability, which this game tested more of my patience sometimes than the tactical ability, and that's probably because of the DLC weapons. I had some pretty high hopes for this game, and I think maybe using the DLC weapons kind of nerfed it, but they came with the pack, so I decided to use them. And lastly, the last good thing is that the heroes change based upon your wife. So my Rex is the winged Rex because I chose Sylvie, and he has float, and then he has some other skills and stuff like that. But it's really nice that they kind of change with the wife. So from here on out, if you hear me start comparing it to Phantasy Star 3 Generations of Doom, it's because even though that game is old, to me that was kind of the gold standard of generation games, especially in the RPG field. and just go along with me because we're about to get into all the things that I think were negative about this game. So first off, it's slow, very slow. All of these blue dots were battles, and there's a ton of them over the map. And then you have the quest zones, which are not too bad for battles. Like, they give you more than enough time to walk around and, you know, actually explore the dungeon without having a fight every 6 seconds. But sometimes between, you know, story event 1 and story event 2, there's 6 or 8 battles that you have to do, and it just kind of gets tedious after a while. I like battles. I don't like that many battles. Some generations seem to have less choices than others, because I know from most of the chapters it all comes down to pretty much one scene where the girls ask you a bunch of random questions, and if you haven't gotten the one that you wanted, that's the time to get the one that you wanted. So it just seems like there's not a whole lot of decisions that really go into choosing your mate. And that was kind of a downer, because it's not, you know, over the entire chapter. It's pretty much here. At the end of the chapter, we're going to ask you a bunch of questions, and it kind of ruins it. Auto battle is horrible, and this is from a player and PC perspective. Is they will go all out on one character, and that's all they do. Most of the time, we'll just go out on one character. So if I take Rex, who has the most movement, and stick him out there, they'll all form around him and they'll just kill him. Then I'll res him, heal him, and then we'll kind of move on from there. You know, we'll start picking them off one by one. Your characters will do the same thing if if I go into this battle and I click auto and it's a surprise fight, they will maybe it's going to be different since they're vastly more powerful than them. No, they didn't need to do this. This is kind of uncalled for. Yeah, this is overkill. They didn't need to do this. So while they're continuing to massacre these enemies, the names and the personalities say the same, which is not true in real life. I have a kid, and if I would have had a kid with another woman, he wouldn't be the same kid every generation. You know, all they do is change hair color and change their outfit a little bit, but they pretty much stay the same character. At least in Generations of Doom, you know, they were different characters. They had different levels of magic, different levels of attack. And I know this happens here, but again, they weren't. Toma is Toma regardless of whoever you make. He's going to be a womanizer regardless of whoever you choose. And that seems dumb, because I think in real life it would change. And you see me not using extra skills on my playthrough. because at this point I kind of don't need them, because I can finish most of Generation 1 in pretty much 1 or 2 rounds. So the parry and the magic dodge at less than 25% hit points, they just start throwing that around, and it is annoying. So random monsters have it. There's a battle at the end of the game where you're fighting 4 enemies, and 2 of them have the magic dodge, 2 of them have the physical attack dodge. There's one enemy that actually has both. And the moment you hit under 25%, that's when the skill takes active. Not when you finish the combo, the moment it goes under 25%. It's just, I can understand increasing the parry skill and doing this, but it's 100% dodge, except for absolute attacks. And it just makes kind of already slow and broken game just more tedious. Like, now I have to worry if this monster has this skill, so I now have to bring in a mage to finish it off, and then, or I have to bring in a physical attacker to finish this enemy off. Again, I can see the increase in evade, but not 100% evade. It's just so annoying. This game seems laggy for some reason. So there'll be times when it stops and it pauses and it won't load characters. And my PC is not the newest PC ever, but it's a few years older than this game and should be able to run it fine. It runs other games just fine. So I think it's something probably with the code or kind of something else going on with it. But there's no reason for this game to kind of lag out and just stop. It's pretty grind heavy too. A lot of the titles and stuff require you to grind and go to a specific room in a dungeon, which you have no clue which room, and then find a monster or find all of this, or kill 20 of these and kill 15 of those. There's a lot of grinding. And if you're into that type of thing, that's it would be a good thing. But to me, I don't have nearly as much time to play games as I used to. I'm an adult with a full-time job and a kid and a fiance. I don't have time for heavy grinding. I can do some. I can do a little here, a little there. But I can't do the sheer amount of grinding that I used to be able to do when I was in my early 20s. So chapter 5, and this is kind of a pet peeve in my mind. It has like a Breath of Fire 3 feel to it. Like, there's the Desert of Doom where you're just walking around aimlessly in this desert. And this one is just a bunch of connect the screens, and you have to choose the right one, or the wrong one takes you to the same one or a different screen. And yeah, it just has this kind of feel like we didn't have any ideas left, so let's borrow from Breath of Fire 3. Even though the ending is different and the story is different, it just kind of feels like it borrowed from it, and it just kind of rubbed me the wrong way a little bit. In the quest zones, we'll go to the Cave of Origin. Sometimes it is super difficult. You have to have practice to walk on the diagonal. The controls aren't super great in these exploration zones, and it's like pulling teeth to get the character to walk in the appropriate direction. Again, that's just more of a pet peeve. The exploration zones I like them in the game. They break up kind of the monotony, and they let you get treasure. But walking on that diagonal is just So difficult. And I think my last beef is there's a turn limit to get the true ending, and I missed it again this playthrough because I was too dark. So what they're counting on is for you to have, a high turn limit the first playthrough, and then playing through it again. And like a sucker, I played through again. I should have just put the game down. It really wasn't worth the second playthrough to go through it a second time, because at that point you're just skipping a bunch of story and you're fighting a bunch of battles that I'm winning in one hit. I'm killing people in one hit through most of the game until I get to chapter probably 3, maybe chapter 4, depending on the enemy. My first playthrough took about 60 hours, and I didn't even grind as heavy as I probably should have. And I guess it goes to the point, do I recommend this game? No. There's so many things kind of wrong with it that I just can't get behind it. I had such high hopes for this game. I had it on my Steam wishlist for such a long time. And I think I got it through a Humble Bundle set. And I was super excited, and I started playing it, and it just kind of slowly just kind of wore me down, and then I had to just trooper up and get things done and beat it. And so I can't, in my humble opinion, recommend this game. There's just too many flaws. So guys, thanks for listening to me butcher the English language. I hope you all have a great time, and I'll catch you in the next one.